A neighbor is scratching OOP's car. Context. This was posted in an Argentine cars subreddit. Originally written in Spanish and translated using ChatGPT. I thought it would be cool to have something a little different than usual. I am not op. Original post from RR Autos by Life Oak 1999. Trigger warnings. Car damage. Help. A neighbor is scratching my car the 27th of February, 2023. Hello everyone. I have a 2014 Ford Fiesta Titanium. Unfortunately, only one car can fit in my garage, so my Fiesta has to sleep on the street. It's a quiet area in Vicente Lopez, a nice neighborhood, away from any major avenues. About 2 weeks ago, I noticed a scratch on the hood, but I thought it could have been a stone on the highway, a branch, a cat, or simply one of the 45 million Argentines who had nothing better to do than scratch my car. Then I saw another one on the right door, the one facing the curb. Clearly, it was intentional, but I didn't know if it was at work, at my girlfriend's house, or in my own block. I took some time off work and left the car in the same spot for 48 hours. When I came back, there were 3 more scratches. It was indeed in front of my house. It's a super quiet block. There's plenty of space to park on the whole block. There are usually only 4 cars, one of them being mine. The other day my dad parked his car outside, and it was also scratched. We don't fight with anyone. We greet everyone. The whole block knows us. But there's some bloody bastard who likes to destroy other people's efforts. The best idea I had to catch the culprit is to leave both cars on the street. Use an old cell phone connected to a 10,000 mAh power bank. And record it all night from the Fiesta, which is tinted. I think I can hide it well enough so it won't be visible. I wanted to share my frustration with you and ask you what your favorite medieval torture is to punish the person if I catch him. Has anyone experienced something similar? What do you recommend I do to try to catch him in the act or have some proof? In the event that it succeeds, what do you think I would have to do? Regards. Update. Help. A neighbor is scratching my car, the 22nd of March, 2023. 23 days later. Hi everyone. I don't know if you remember me. Almost a month ago, I posted in this community telling you about how my car was getting scratched in front of my house. The mystery has been solved. Even though I tried to set up cameras to catch the culprit myself, the definitive answer came from a different source. A few days ago, I was walking my dog at night and I met an elderly lady around 80 years old who is a neighbor in the area. I always let her chat with me because I'm 23 years old and I'm not really interested in what an elderly lady has to say unless she's my grandmother. As I mentioned before, I have a good relationship with my neighbors and I always take the time to chat with everyone. Also, I like older people, so I have no problem taking a few minutes to talk. The lady asked me what happened to my car, as she hadn't seen it for a while. I told her it was getting scratched and that I had started parking it around the corner. She responded, "I know who's doing it." At first, I doubted her and didn't understand how she knew. It turned out she's a gossip, but not like the typical gossip who watches from the window. She does it from the comfort of her living room. With her fan, kettle, and mate, she has cameras facing the street and watches them for hours. A 21st century gossip. The fact is that her husband was also affected. He has an impeccable Fiat 147 that's only fit for connoisseurs. And someone broke the side mirror. The lady told her husband that she saw someone scratching the cars on the cameras. Her husband reviewed the footage, found out who broke the mirror, and filed a complaint. All of this happened last week. The culprit was the son of a prostitute squad. Editor's note: Argentine Spanish is very colorful in terms of cursing. Street sweeper. He passed by every morning just before starting work. And on the way, he broke people's car mirrors. I was going crazy because I didn't understand how it was happening. I parked my car at 11 p.m. and found it scratched at 8 a.m. It was this miserable, resentful guy who passed by just before me. But not early enough for the lady to not be watching the cameras from her living room. The story has a partly happy ending. The guy was fired from his job. And it's more than proven that he's a son of a bitch. But I never got to confront him or ask for compensation. I had hoped to catch someone who could take responsibility for the damage. But I'll have to live with the scratches and eventually sell the car for a lower price than others. Because a social misfit decided to mess with someone else's property. There's not much more to say. I'll just try to improve the Fiesta's appearance so it can return to something similar to its original beauty. The lesson of this is that I am a little more discriminating than yesterday. And a little less than tomorrow. Reminder, I am not the original poster. It turned out she's a gossip. But not like the typical gossip who watches from the window. She does it from the comfort of her living room. With her fan, kettle, and mate, she has cameras facing the street and watches them for hours. A 21st century gossip. This is where I picture myself in 60 years. You can always count on little old ladies to know absolutely everything about the comings and goings of the block they live on. ... Son of a prostitute squad. Well, that's my new favorite moniker. We had an elderly neighbor who sat in her front room window and acted as street security. She stopped at least one theft just by opening her window and moving the curtains in a sweet old lady way. She also took in parcels if needed, made a fuss of cats, and waved at small children on their way to school. Rip Ms. N. We miss you. I was born into the wrong culture. Colorful cursing is my kind of people. This isn't the point of the post. But wow. ChatGPT translated this really well. It's nice to read a translated passage that is in pretty good grammar and the tone is understandable. It really makes me appreciate the quirks of the language. Thanks for using the tool to translate it. Who messes up with a Fiat 147? It is a tiny, cheap, old car. Even resentful MFERs tend to respect that. I'm sorry for Op and even more for Gramps. Had this happen on my street a few years back, the prick was not only damaging cars but breaking into people's houses, beating people up, etc. He OD'd and died, and people were saying how sad it was because he was young. 22-ish. Sad that a dude who beat up and hospitalized a 14-year-old when he was 19 died? Nah, not sorry. Not just the son of a prostitute. So my Fiesta has to sleep on the street. What a missed opportunity to say, my Fiesta had to siesta on the street. Son of a prostitute squad is sending me. I'll admit, I've scratched the paint on someone's car. I was living in an apartment complex with reserved parking spaces. My neighbors somehow just couldn't manage to park completely in their space. Day after day, week after week, this MFer kept parking over the line. I was driving an ancient Chrysler K car at the time, and managed to always be within the lines, even when my neighbor had angled over into my spot. After about 2 months, I started scratching the driver door, but only when they parked over the line. 2 months after that, I noticed they finally patched the paint, and had learned how to park like a grown-up. For some reason I first read it as, a neighbor is scratching OOP's ear, and I thought, is he a cat? A furry? I'm very protective of my car. Someone tries anything to it, getting pissed is an understatement. First, thanks for posting this. Never expected to see any ARG drama here. Second, France. Trophy trophy trophy. I don't want to be unkind to sex workers, but son of a prostitute squad is pretty funny. Although a prostitute squad sounds pretty badass, if you think about it. That neighborhood elderly lady isn't quite Mrs. Kravitz. Bewitched reference. She certainly sees and she knows what is going on. I like her. Trigger warnings. Car damage. On a post titled, "A Neighbor is Scratching OOP's Car." Who could have imagined? This reminds me of the time when I came home as a 5 or 6-year-old and proudly told my parents that the little boy next door and I had spent the afternoon drawing pretty pictures on neighbors' cars. With a bottle cap grimace. It was a dead-end street in a residential neighborhood with lots of small kids. So we all played outside from a young age, as the only people who drove there were neighbors who knew to look out for us. Go go Granny Gadget.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.